President William Ruto is in the coming days expected to unveil a list of men and women whom he will entrust the responsibility to help him implement campaign promises and the general management of public affairs. By law, the president can only appoint a maximum of 22 cabinet secretaries, with the leeway to choose between career politicians and technocrats. It will, however, be a daunting task for Ruto to reward many of his political backers at a time the position of Chief Administrative Secretary was deemed unconstitutional by the High Court, which ruled that filing of those positions must be through a competitive process. Let's get more from our very own Sam Gituku.
One of the most important early assignments for any new president is in picking a cabinet and other senior government officials to translate a president's political promises into actionable policies and see through their implementation. The Constitution empowers President William Ruto to pick between 14 and 22 nominees for cabinet secretaries who must then be vetted by the National Assembly before being sworn in. Ruto needs to appoint an Attorney General and a Secretary to the Cabinet whose role is to have charge of the Cabinet Office, keep all records of the Cabinet, and convey decisions of the Cabinet within and without. The President also needs Principal Secretaries, as many as the number of state departments he wills to create. They become the accounting officers of their respective ministerial departments. Currently, there are 21 ministries as established by President Uhuru Kenyatta. There are 47 state departments within the ministries, each headed by a principal secretary. There are further at least 25 chief administrative secretary positions created by President Kenyatta since 2018. Some of the largest ministries include the transport docket that has 5 departments, each headed by a PS. They are transport, infrastructure, housing, urban development, and public works. The Ministry of Education is equally large, with Basic Education Department, University Education and Research Department, a department in charge of TVET, another for post-training and skills development, and one for curriculum reforms. The Ministry of Agriculture has 4 departments: cooperatives, fisheries and blue economy, livestock and crop development, and agriculture research, each headed by a PS. Already, President Ruto has indicated that he will be creating a ministry on cooperatives and SMEs development.
We shall establish a Ministry of Cooperatives and SME Development, mandated to ensure that every small business has secure property rights, access to finance, and a supportive regulatory framework.
And to populate the PS positions, Kenyans interested in serving in those positions have up to 20th September to apply for the same to the Public Service Commission. The PSC will then shortlist qualified candidates, interview them, and recommend a list of nominees to the President. The President should then pick names from the list and nominate them to specific dockets, then submit the list to the National Assembly for approval hearings. The National Assembly should then vet the PS nominees within the departmental committees, and should the House approve the nominees, then the President should appoint them to start their duty. With a long list of loyalists that backed his election, Ruto's options may be limited in law. His predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta, embraced several political leaders in his administration under the Chief Administrative Secretary positions. The High Court, however, in 2021 found the positions unconstitutional on grounds that their recommendation for creation by the Public Service Commission had not involved public participation. Further, the High Court found that such CSs ought to have been competitively recruited by the Public Service Commission, starting off with the invitation for applications, then shortlisting and interviewing, after which PSC should recommend successful candidates to the President for appointment. Question is, can interested political leaders apply to the PSC for consideration? The Court of Appeal, however, had stayed the High Court decision following an appeal by the Attorney General that has never been concluded. Article 130 of the Constitution requires the composition of the National Executive to reflect the regional and ethnic diversity of the people of Kenya. Other positions at the disposal of the President are those of High Commissioners, ambassadors, diplomatic or consular representatives. President Kenyatta in May appointed over 2 dozens of new ambassadors, which Ruto can vary if he wishes to do so. Sam Gituku, Citizen TV, Nairobi.